He will be a joy and a delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth. For he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He is never to take wine or fermented drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit from even before he is born. He will bring back many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God, and he will go on before the Lord in the spirit and the power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the parents to their children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. Luke 1 verse 14 to verse 17, Demystifying the Holy Spirit. We are now in the book of Luke. We have looked at the book of Matthew, we have looked at the book of Mark, and the whole of the Old Covenant, and now we are doing quite well, demystifying the Holy Spirit. We are continuing to pursue the revolution that is by the Holy Spirit. And if you look here, Angel Gabriel is telling Zechariah that John will be filled with the Holy Spirit even before he is born. And the way as we are struggling in getting the Holy Spirit, and John, the promise is even before he is born, even before the labor pain of his mother, even before the last trimester is done, he will be filled with the Holy Spirit. And do you know, it did happen. It did happen in Luke 1. In Luke 1 and verse 41. When Elizabeth had Mary's greetings, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. It is not Elizabeth who was filled with the Holy Spirit. It is John, because he's the one who leaped. But the manifestation, because the baby is in the womb, manifestation was seen through the mother, Elizabeth, who baptized John with the Holy Spirit. The baby Jesus inside the Mary's womb. Because John is telling us he is the one who should baptize us with the Holy Spirit and the fire. So there is no one else who could baptize with the Holy Spirit and fire. So you can see Jesus was still powerful even when he was still in embryo status or fetus status. This is a key. The angel is saying John will be filled with the Holy Spirit even before birth. Why? Number one is for destiny preparedness. If you look at verse 14, he will be a joy and a delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth. So the purpose is in his birthing. So John is not like us who wait until we reach a certain age. The birthing, just getting born in that maternity, he becomes the joy and a delight to Zechariah, and then he becomes a source of rejoicing, a source of happiness to many people. And if you look at Luke 1, is it Luke 1? Yes. And you look at the verse 65, all the neighbors were filled with Yahweh. And throughout the hill country of Judea, people were talking about all these things. Everyone who had this wondered about it, asking, what then is this child going to be? For the Lord's hand was with him. So even when he was just born, before even naming any circumcision, he was already an Yahweh. He was already an amazement to the people. So key number one, when you need the Holy Spirit, is to capture the atmosphere with positivity at introduction stages. Many of us, when we are launching our lives in different type of lives, marriage, ministry, business, career, we start with the onset of rejection. But John, because he's been filled with the Holy Spirit, or in the womb, once he is born, everybody is happy about him, is amazed. So when we have the Holy Spirit, Whatever initiative we start is accepted, is received with honor. You don't receive initial rejections that goes into choking your initiatives. Number 2, he is saying, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord. When the Holy Spirit comes upon you, there is one agenda he is interested with: making the beholder, making the carrier, making the host great. There is no way you can carry the Holy Spirit and you remain small. The Holy Spirit is on duty of transforming you into a great person. Number three, look here. He is saying he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, and because of that, he will bring back many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God. Why is John being filled with the Holy Spirit even before he is born? Is because he is being born as a magnet. He will bring many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God. So the Holy Spirit will come upon you and will introduce the ministry of John. The ministry of John is bringing back people back to God. It is a ministry of soul harvest. So when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you will notice people start turning back to God through you. And this is what now makes you a center of reference. In whatever area you are in, you must not be in the gospel, you must not be in the word, whatever, or in music. No. You can even be in business, but that business, God is using it to turn people back to the Lord. When people come and buy something to you because you are under the influence of the Holy Spirit, they buy a shirt from you. When they go and they wear that shirt, because it has the Holy Spirit of God through you, they start getting conviction. They start yielding towards the Lord. If they come and they buy food from your shop, when they go and they cook, the spirit inside them is stirred and fanned towards God. So when the Holy Spirit is upon you, you become an agent of soul winning and harvest towards God. And that is the primary purpose of the Holy Spirit in your life, is to win people back to God. The next thing that you'd like you to understand about the Holy Spirit, why the Gabriel is saying he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even in his birth. He is saying, and he will go on before the Lord in the spirit and the power of Elijah. When the Holy Spirit comes upon you, he makes you available for supernatural deep impartation. The Holy Spirit is able to host the dimensions of ancient successes and victories. John is born, and then because the Holy Spirit is upon him, the spirit of Elijah and the power of Elijah rockets him and enters it into him. That's what we call impartation. Praise Jesus Christ. And he says it to turn that. We talked about that about soul harvest. So when the Holy Spirit is upon us, there is a whole lot of benefit. So this is the one we should actually pay attention in seeking until we find him. How will John get filled with the Holy Spirit? Two things: Zechariah, spiritual father, a priest. You must make sure you are a priestly conceived child. The father was a priest. The number two is Elizabeth. This we normally say the church, the mother church. He is filled even when he is in the Elizabeth womb. And we noted that in Luke 1 and verse 6. In Luke 1 and verse 44, John leaped inside Elizabeth's womb. There's Elizabeth, the mother church. Those two things are very important: the priest and the mother church.